She thought leaving the group chat would be the end of it, a quiet exit from friends who didn't really see her anymore. But what began as a digital silence turned into real-life isolation until the doorbell rang. Stick around. This is a story about friendship, forgiveness, and finding your way back when you thought it was too late. The rain tapped gently on the window panes of Maya Brooks's small studio apartment in Portland's northeast side. The air smelled like wet pavement and stale coffee, the kind she reheated twice already that day. Her phone sat face down on the kitchen counter, silent for hours. But she didn't need to check it. She already knew no one was going to text her, not after what happened. It had been 3 weeks since she left the group chat, the one that had been her lifeline for the past 7 years. Coffee Coven, they'd called it back in college when the 5 of them bonded over late-night design critiques and instant ramen at the University of Washington. They had grown up together in a digital sense. Daily memes, deep conversations, emergency calls at 2 a.m. when someone's heart got broken. But everything changed the night they started talking about Jared's job offer. It wasn't just a job. It was at a defense contractor. Big salary, big prestige. Maya had hesitated before giving her opinion, but when she finally spoke up, it came out sharper than she meant. "So you're okay designing things that could literally kill people?" Jared had fired back. So had Olivia. Even Dom, the quiet one, said she was overreacting. Maya tried to explain, to reframe, but it got ugly fast. Sarcasm, old wounds resurfaced, past arguments reignited. Then Olivia wrote, "This isn't about the job. You always make everything about you." That's when Maya left the chat. No goodbye, no explanation, just Maya has left the conversation. And since then, silence. No calls, no DMs, no texts. Just the quiet sting of absence where friendship used to be. The apartment creaked as she padded barefoot into the living room, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. The isolation had started as a statement, but now it just felt like punishment. She stared at the empty screen of her phone. Maybe I should have handled it better. Maybe I pushed too hard. She'd drafted a message at least 10 times, never sent it. "How do you apologize for being yourself?" The kettle whistled. She poured water over a mug of chamomile, the steam fogging up the window. Outside, the rain kept falling. Her mind drifted to the last time they were all together. Karaoke night at Dom's new apartment. Laughing so hard her stomach hurt. Olivia doing a terrible rendition of Adele. Jared filming it for blackmail. That wasn't so long ago, she thought. So how did it all fall apart so fast? Then, a knock at the door. Maya froze. No one ever visited without texting first. She pulled the blanket tighter and walked slowly to the door, heart already racing. When she looked through the peephole, her breath caught in her throat. It was Jared, wearing a rain-drenched hoodie, looking nervous, hands in his pockets. She hesitated, then opened the door. He looked up. "Hey." She blinked. Words wouldn't come. "I know I should have texted first, but you wouldn't answer." She stepped aside without saying anything. He walked in, dripping water onto her rug. And then, another knock. She turned back to the door. Olivia, then Dom, then Tess, one by one. No fanfare, no accusations, just 4 people, soaked from the rain, showing up for a friend who thought they'd given up on her. Maya stood in the center of her apartment, heart pounding, wrapped in a blanket like it was armor. Rainwater pooled by the door as each of them stepped inside, their silence louder than any shouting match. They stood awkwardly, Jared rubbing the back of his neck, Olivia pulling off her beanie, Dom clutching a paper bag of something homemade. and Tess with a six-pack of root beer like they were back in their dorm kitchen. No one sat. No one spoke. Finally, Maya exhaled. "What are you all doing here?" It was Tess who answered. "You left." And then everything just stopped. It didn't feel right. Olivia added, arms crossed, defensive but soft. "We messed up. I messed up. I said things I shouldn't have." "So did I," Maya admitted. "I got too personal. I didn't know how to back off." Dom stepped forward, setting the bag on the counter gently. "Banana bread. No nuts." Maya blinked, a small laugh escaping before she could stop it. "You remembered." "You're allergic. We're not savages," Dom said with a crooked grin. Jared finally took off his hood. His expression was different now. Not prideful, not angry, just tired. "Look, I shouldn't have snapped. You were asking hard questions and I took it as an attack. But you were trying to challenge me. That's what you always did in college. Pushed people to think." Maya lowered the blanket from her shoulders. "And you guys weren't wrong either. I was judging without listening." There was a pause. The kind that usually meant the conversation could go either way. "I didn't think any of you would come," Maya said, her voice small. Tess smiled. "Well, you left the chat, not our lives." "And besides," Dom added, "if anyone's allowed to be dramatic, it's you. We just forgot how to handle it." Olivia stepped closer, her voice gentler now. "You made me think, Maya, about how easy it is to take people for granted when everything lives in a group chat. But real friendships don't survive in unread texts. They survive in conversations, in mistakes, in banana bread." That pulled another small smile from Maya. They eventually sat, all of them crowding around the small couch and kitchen chairs, damp clothes and all. No one looked at their phones. No one rushed to wrap things up. Instead, they talked. About Jared's new job, the complicated feelings, the compromises, the doubts he hadn't admitted to anyone. About Olivia's burnout, about Dom's breakup, about Tess considering moving across the country, but not knowing how to bring it up. They laughed too, tentatively at first, then freely, because it wasn't just about Maya leaving the group chat. It was about all of them drifting without realizing it, and choosing, right now, to come back. The storm outside had eased into a quiet drizzle, casting soft reflections of streetlights onto the windows. Inside Maya's apartment, the group sat close, the kind of close that didn't feel forced, but earned. Dom sliced the banana bread, handing out pieces on mismatched plates. The scent filled the room, warm and nostalgic. But Maya wasn't eating. She was staring at the half-empty mug in her hands, turning it slowly. Her voice, when it finally came, was barely audible. "I didn't leave just because of the fight." Everyone looked up. Jared leaned forward slightly. "We figured, but we didn't know how to ask." Maya nodded slowly, eyes still down. "It's been building, not just that night. I was already cracking, watching you all move on, Jared with this huge offer, Olivia designing for that museum in DC, Tess finally pitching to publishers, Dom building that app. I was happy for you. But it made me feel like I was stuck." Her voice trembled, but she didn't stop. "I've been struggling. Financially, creatively. I wake up some days and can't even open my laptop. It's like everything I studied, everything I thought I'd become, I'm just falling short." She looked up finally, and her eyes were glassy. "And every time I saw our messages, it just reminded me that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. So instead of saying that, I lashed out. I made everything about morals and jobs and choices, because that was easier than admitting I felt left behind. The silence was heavy, not judgmental, but full of shifting understanding. Tess set her drink down gently. Maya, we should have noticed. We got so caught up in our own stuff. That's not on you, Maya said quickly. I didn't ask for help. I didn't think I had the right to. Jared rubbed his hands over his face. Jesus, we were talking about salaries and relocations while you were drowning. And still cheering for us, Olivia added, her voice cracking, even while hurting. Dom sat back, letting out a long breath. You think you're the only one who feels like that? I've had 2 panic attacks this month. Tess rewrote her pitch 6 times because she doesn't feel good enough. Jared's thinking of turning down the offer. Everyone turned toward Jared. What? He nodded, grimacing. I'm not sure it's the right fit. It's a lot of money, yeah, but it doesn't sit right with me. I just didn't want to look ungrateful. Maya blinked. The story started unraveling, each friend slowly admitting fears, doubts, insecurities that had been buried beneath jokes and filtered selfies. It turned out no one felt together. And for the first time in a long time, Maya didn't feel like the odd one out. She felt seen. They stayed until midnight. No one rushed. When Olivia started dozing off in the armchair, they grabbed blankets and made a spontaneous sleepover out of it, just like college. Not everything was solved, but something shifted. They weren't just friends again. They were people again. Imperfect, afraid, open. The next morning, sunlight pushed through the curtains, lighting up the apartment in soft, golden streaks. Maya woke up on the couch tangled in a blanket, with Tess snoring softly beside her and Olivia still curled in the armchair, arms crossed like she'd fallen asleep mid-argument. For a moment, Maya didn't move. She just listened, to the quiet breathing of people she thought she'd lost, and to something deeper inside her. Peace. Jared was already in the kitchen, making scrambled eggs badly, burning the edges like he always did. Dom was fiddling with the Bluetooth speaker, trying to connect his phone to play one of their old Spotify playlists. Maya sat up, rubbing her eyes. You guys really just slept over like it was 2016. Jared grinned. Honestly, it felt right. Dom turned and nodded toward her phone on the counter. You should check the chat. Maya raised an eyebrow. What chat? He smiled. We made a new one. Coffee Coven 2.0. Tess groaned from the floor. Terrible name. I voted for regretfully reunited. Maya laughed genuinely this time and picked up her phone. The screen lit up. New group created. Coffee Coven 2.0 real-life check-ins, reactions. No disappearing without saying goodbye. Maya added to group a string of inside jokes, memes, and a picture of last night's banana bread flood the screen. She stared at it, heart swelling. I still don't know if I'm okay, she said aloud. Olivia, half awake, replied without opening her eyes. Good. None of us are. That's why we need each other. Later that week, Maya walked into a cozy cafe a few blocks away, her laptop under one arm, earbuds in her pocket. She ordered a coffee, found a corner seat, and opened her screen to a blank document. No pressure, no expectations, just a start. The cursor blinked, and for the first time in months, she didn't dread the work. Her phone buzzed. Dom. Check the playlist. I added Bittersweet Symphony for your dramatic re-entry. Tess. Also, don't forget brunch Sunday and wear real pants. Jared. Still can't cook eggs. Olivia. Proud of you, even when you don't text back. Maya smiled, took a sip of her coffee, and typed the first words of a new client project. She wasn't fixed, but she wasn't alone anymore. Sometimes the hardest thing is saying, "I'm not okay." But the right people will stay when you do. If this story moved you, leave a like, share it with someone going through something similar, and subscribe for more emotional, grounded stories that stay with you.